Hi, I'm Ninjamonkey, also known as Khalil, and this is a Draw My Life video. So much like Ryan Higa, I was a little hesitant about making this because my life was never such a huge upset or nearly as fantastical as others that I've seen. But I wanted to make one of my own for all of you to enjoy because I love my life and I would like to share it with all of you. So my story actually starts in a city called Grand Forks, North Dakota, where a big old can of awesomeness was created. And I just kind of popped out of there. Actually, when I was born, apparently I didn't want to come out, and to top it off, I was born a few weeks early. In fact, I was supposed to be born early in December, but was born midway through November. Stubbornness aside, I came out, and the world was no longer the same ever again. So it was originally just me, my parents, and of course my older sister, an entire Air Force family, and because we are military, you have that one little factor that we move a lot throughout the state. The place that has the most of my memories is actually in a small little capital in Wyoming called Cheyenne. Just a small country city where you can literally walk clear across the town in one day. Keep in mind that this was when I was kind of more or less of an innocent soul, and this is when I just started remembering things, so I even discovered parkour before I knew what I was doing was called parkour. It was awesome. You're gonna see these stories about my childhood because trust me, they're worth telling, and that all happened in due time, so be patient for those. I even fell in love for the very first time. I kissed my first girl out there. I got into my first fist fight. I lost that miserably. The dude made me look like a fool, and that was kind of humiliating, but I was a kid, so I didn't really care. So I had a lot of experiences out there, and a lot of things shaped me into what I am today. And all of that, my mom and dad also divorced each other. I wasn't very happy about that, and at one point tried to trick them into getting back together till they caught on to my little game. I cried when my mom explained to me what was happening, but I proceeded to see my dad whenever. Actually, we even had a little share plan where me and my sister would fly to see my dad every other year, and I think this may be where I got my little moments of acting out. But moving on, eventually my mom met a man, a friend of hers, named Mr. Bob. Or at least that's what I call him. Naturally, as a kid of divorced family, I was kind of standoffish with him at first, till I got to know him and get used to him being around because he would come and visit us from New Mexico often, usually with his dog Bandit. Little did I know that mom was kind of seeing him at the time, and I was totally oblivious to this whole thing. Time flies and it's time to leave Cheyenne. Before I left, however, there used to be a girl, someone I considered my best friend as well as someone I was very much infatuated with. I told her I would be back, that I would learn to use the phone when I move out there and don't move from the house, like ever, because I'm come back. And she said she promised, she was gonna be back there. She gave me her number and everything, but I still didn't know how to use a phone. Came back a few more years later to find out that she didn't do none of that. So I had to move on. Moving on, eventually we got to New Mexico. Yeah. The first thing that comes to my mind is the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown, where Linus got Sally to stay in the pumpkin patch.
I had to listen to you, you blockhead. What a fool I was.
We ended up moving to the west side of Albuquerque, and of course I make a few friends here and there. I went to school out there called Mary Ann Benford Elementary School. Not a bad place, but I think that the classes were far too short for me, so I ended up going to Sandia Base Elementary School on the Air Force Base, which was actually on the other side of town from where we were living. While I'm living here, my dad got remarried to a very perky lady who I find absolutely adorable. Her name is Cassie, and then my mom gets married to my now stepdad, Mr. Bob, and I absolutely love that guy as well. And there's even new additions to the family, including a little boy named Patrick, and a few years later, a little sister named Natasha. We managed to go to many different places, and one of those places was Disney World. And oh my god, I met Goofy, and honestly, if I could, I would end this story right now, because there's really nothing else I have to say about my life that is even worth mentioning except for Goofy, because that just made my life. I could die happy knowing that I talked about Goofy. We end up moving on base, And for a while there, it was pretty cool. It was like its own little place inside the city, kind of like Atlantis. And about 4 or 5 years ago, I came back to the youth center, also known as the Boys and Girls Club. I ended up running into a little dancer boy named Damon Lamascota, also known as D-trix, and you may have seen him in plenty of my videos, who was dancing and trying to impress his friend and some girl at the time. Now, I've been to this place for several years and never seen anyone do this before, so I watched. Sure enough, he provoked me in. So I do my thing, and the next thing I know, we're busting out till we dropped to our knees. And keep in mind, I haven't been dancing, and I was kind of sloppy, I ain't gonna lie. But needless to say, the D-Train ended up getting me back into dance. Unfortunately, even though D-Train used to be good friends with me and everything, we kind of ended up hating each other. So we do have beef with each other, and that's, well, where that chapter pretty much ends in my life. I still dance though. In fact, my senior year, I kind of created my own little dance crew that quickly deteriorated, but long enough to get our pics in the yearbook, and was even asked to help teach my boy Cyrus from the UHF crew teach a hip-hop class after I graduated. I ended up going to Wilson Middle School, where I was a loner. That's when I started noticing that I'm not as adept to socializing with other people, even my classmates. In fact, I don't think I ever really truly fit in. That became abundantly clear one day when I grew my own little reputation for running with my arms behind me, also known as the Sonic Run, and as I like to call it, and it kind of grew that reputation because, well, you know, Sonic sometimes runs with his arms behind him, flailing in the wind majestically. I also grew the nickname Black Spider-Man because of one day in PE we were playing dodgeball, and I'm the last person on the team, and everyone's ganging up on me, so as soon as they throw the ball, I drop straight to the splits, and the balls just flew over my head. It was amazing. I felt proud of myself. I moved on to Highland High School and get jumped my freshman year, actually. And ironically, the girl that got me jumped ended up becoming friends with me, and it was in that 4 years time that I learned to be strong, to take some things seriously, to be quicker, and of course, become better. Now I'm in college in this desert of a city, and I'm majoring in criminal justice. As I grew up a little more, I discovered that martial arts is still my passion. I was teaching myself stuff on my own. One day, I'm gonna be like Akuma from Street Fighter and break an entire mountain in half with just my fist. I'm gonna be a beast, okay? As the years went by, I discovered that somehow I created my own persona. Being a loner no longer bothered me because I was my own type of person, and that's kind of how I like to be. Somehow managed to remain very creative, started making little videos with pics and GIFs. I got online making my own little slideshow stories with the use of Windows Movie Maker. So I eventually jump on the bandwagon like a boss and fall into YouTube, where at first I was just watching videos like Dragon Ball Z, Sonic the Hedgehog, some other stuff I don't remember. Someone told me that YouTube lets you share videos. It was actually in high school when I got my hands on a Mac that I discovered that I loved iMovie and making videos for the fun of it. So I kind of kept doing it till I eventually hit that import video button on YouTube and saw how easy it was. I enjoyed being here amongst a bunch of awesome YouTubers such as The Dominic Show, and actually d-trix is actually my inspiration for dance, so I kind of live up to that guy. Ed's World, Gak Attack, Nigga Higga, Swoozy, Jenna Marbles, Brizzy Voices, etc. I love these guys. I see some great talent out here and some awesome videos from a lot of people all over the world. So one day I hope to work with one of these people to make something as epic as hell, because that would just be the highlight of my life. For those of you that do follow me as I describe it here on YouTube, or are fans of mine on Facebook with my fan page, I would like to thank you all for being so dope and so fresh and so clean. And I do appreciate the fact that you all actually like what I do. And there will definitely be more videos as well. So to all of you that are still with me all this time and it's been there from the very beginning, thank you very much for not making me feel like such a loner anymore.